Step one, you are going to mold down your hair. I use this particular Eben gel to mold mine down. And then I went in with this weave cap, bald cap, and I basically put this on my edges. I put it on my hair. I put it everywhere. And then I sat under the dryer to make sure it got nice and firm. Both of these layers is what helped keep my hair nice and protected and my edges intact. Next, I'm going in and I'm putting my bald cap on, and I am creating an actual bald cap because I'll be using a closure. So I need to cut around the ears so everything is going to lay nice and flat. I grab my Eben spray, and this is for me melting the cap. You'll see me spray it in the front. I'm actually going to spray it all around, all over this cap. And again, I am just adding more and more layers of protection for this style. I personally like the Eben brand, so you'll see me using that throughout this video. I have found that it does the job of holding things in place, whether it's my wig cap, whether it's my lace, whether it's my hair, starting with the gel that I used in the beginning of the video. It holds everything in place, but it does not tear up my edges or anything like that. They are not sponsoring me. I bought all these products with my own money. This is my personal opinion. And when I walk in the store, I specifically grab the Eben products. And if they don't have them, they only have like the Got to Be Glued or something, I honestly just go to another store. All right, here we're going in with the lace closure. It's a little overplucked. We're going to deal with that later in this video. Again, I have my Eben lace glue. Now, if I'm doing my actual wigs, I prefer to use the red glue, but since this was just a quick weave, the blue is fine. Personally, I believe the red one holds even better than the black one, so when I want a more lasting install, I use the red glue. But again, this is a quick weave. I'm not leaving it in too long, so I just use the black one. Now I have this glue, this 30-second dry glue, and I am going to be using that. You want to start at the nape, not too low, and go ahead and start installing those tracks after you've measured a bit, and you're just putting the glue onto the weft of the hair, and then you're going to put the hair onto your head in the measured space. If it doesn't come out exactly perfect, I think that track was like a little bit crooked, it's actually okay. And you're literally just feeling for everything. Now, if you want to set up a whole camera and all that shabazz, you definitely can. I personally just don't. I've been feeling for where to put these tracks since way before anybody had the idea to set up that camera like they do, and so that just feels like an extra step when I'm just trying to do my hair, and so I don't bother with it because I find that my hair turns out just fine even without me setting up that whole camera. For those of you who are unsure what the weft is, you're seeing where that is right now. Sorry, it's like barely in the shot, but it's basically before the hair starts dangling. What's keeping all the hair together, that's the weft, and that is where you put the glue. And so I'm going here, I am turning around so you can see me putting the hair, and all you're doing is making your way from the bottom back up to the top. You'll see where I kind of feel a little bit for where that existing track is laying so that I make sure I put the next track right on top. I do like for all of my hair, whether it's a quick weave, whether it's a sew-in, whether it's a wig, all of it, I like for it to be nice and full. So you'll notice that I am placing my tracks close together. And I'm doing all of this while I let the glue dry, which is why I started with placing that lace glue on top. I'm waiting for that to get clear, and then once it is, I will go back and I will put on my actual lace closure for this install. I'm continuing to feel around and lay these tracks. What I will say is make sure that when you are putting your glue on the edges of these tracks where it's going to be on the from the edge of the hair touching your actual edges. Don't put too much glue. Don't overdo it. It's gonna stick. It's glue. Some people use a blow dryer in between laying these tracks. I sit under a hair dryer at the end. So here is me putting the closure on. I do have clips to hold back any stray hairs just to make sure it's not going to get all caught up in the glue. The glue is still not completely clear on the end, but since I'm still installing all this hair and I don't want to be here all day, I said this is good enough. And I went ahead and I clipped it down. Now, the next part that you're going to need to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to add the glue around the edges. Now, you can either sew this down or glue this down. I might do an install where I show you how I do my braidless sew-in because my hair is super short. So stay tuned for that. There is one already on my page. It's like one of the very first videos, but I posted it years ago. So if you want to check that out now, you can. I'll put a link in the description for it. But ultimately, you can actually sew all this in if you wanted to. But I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to put my glue right here around the edges of this. This was a little tricky because of the angle. I suppose I could have actually done this in reverse and did this glue around the edges and laid that and then went in and glued the front part of the closure down, but you know, pick your poison. This is what I chose to do. And so you just want to put the glue around like so, and just be careful because you don't want to start dropping a bunch of glue onto the hair. And you can always just add a little bit more in later if you notice it's not covered fully where you want everything to be covered. But again, this glue a little goes a long way. So I'm going to go in and, sorry, it's a little out of shot, but all I'm doing is pressing down the closure and making sure that all the glued parts are actually sticking to the cap. Pick up my wig band, tie it down for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then take it off so I can proceed with continuing to glue the tracks in. And I am coming up on being finished with one pack of hair, actually. One pack of hair went a very long way. And so I know the different packs because of the different lengths of hair that I got, so it could have like a natural layering look if I wanted that. So I'm gonna let you guys see me continue to work my way up and around and how I lay these tracks in order. Something important to note is that as I continue to get closer and closer to the top, I actually start to curve the tracks in the front in a little bit of a U-type situation. So you can see that I'm doing that, and that's why the tracks are starting to angle themselves up. This is good so when the wind blows, you don't have that first part of the track just showing or whatever the case may be. It's going to create for more of a natural look in the end, and you just want to continue to close the gap. We are basically at the top, and I just want to say for the record, you could definitely do this hairstyle with only 2 packs of hair. This is Empire Beauty hair. I decided to get it because the gentleman at the hair store actually told me this one was better than the bundles, and I've used this hair at least 3 times, and I agree with what he said. This pack hair is just as good, if low-key not better than any bundle hair I've gotten. And I've spent hundreds of dollars on bundles before. So just everything that glitters isn't gold. I know we went into this huge fad where it's like, I can't believe you getting pack hair. You're getting pack hair. Like, this pack hair actually works. So I don't know. Do what's best for you. Really, a lot of how your hair lasts is also just in how well you take care of it. So there's that. Anyways, you see, I came and I closed up completely all the way up to the closure, adding tracks. Now, this bald headed closure, you guys, I need to find a closure that lasts really well. I think they don't last as much as they should. The ones that I'm finding, I will say I normally get them from the hair store. If you all know any really nice closure options that I could check out online, please leave a comment for me. I am willing to try out something new. I'm going in here and I'm straightening it. Ultimately, I'm going to jump to what this style is kind of looking like and the decision to put in a bang because, again, gappy closure. Here's the gappy closer situation. You guys, I wanted it to be it so bad, but there was just nothing I could do to really make this work. And I felt comfortable with the fact that this closure is balding. This is the back of the hair though. Okay. And so what I decided to do was cut some bangs. So let's jump into that. I started to create my bangs by sectioning off the part that I wanted to have the bangs. I want them to kind of collapse down naturally towards the sides, so I did do them at a bit of an angle when I was parting. And then I went in and I flat ironed the different layers of the hair forward. I have this, I don't know what this is called. It's some type of like chop razor thing. And so I just use this towards the bottom, as you can see, to thin it out so that when I cut straight across, it's still going to have like a more natural type of fall. You'll see what I mean. And I'm not gonna lie, I just eyeballed this and kept doing it until I was like, that should probably be pretty good. And then I pulled the hair together and I grabbed the scissors. Always cut a little lower than you think, because what you can't do is put that hair back. And so I'm glad that I did cut it this low because it turned out being the appropriate length. And sometimes when people are cutting bangs, they think, oh, I want it to fall like just below my eyebrows. So they cut just below their eyebrows and it turns into a struggle bus. I'm letting you know right now. Cut closer down to the curvature or like the little round part on your nose. Like cut closer to there. And you can always go back and cut more if you decide. What you can't do is uncut. That is not a thing. And so that's where I decided to cut the hair. Those are the reasons why. I gave it a little curl. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start kind of just combing it, flattening it out. And I honestly was happy with how these bangs turned out. My daughter actually loved the bangs. She's a bang girl. And she said, oh, mommy, you have bangs. My husband did not like the bangs at all. He was like, hmm, these bangs. Okay. And I don't know if it maybe just could have been because of maybe like it looked like really wiggy or I'm not sure. But he wasn't feeling the bangs. So I didn't end up wearing this style very long, like a week tops, because he just didn't care for the bangs. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I can just switch my hair to something else. It's fine. But ultimately, I just started playing it with the comb, and then I decided to get my paddle brush so I could go in with that. Like I said, I think it's cute. I think it's coming along. One of the last things that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this like chi oil and I put it on the hair. And I think these bangs they're banging. They're bangs. They're doing the things that they're supposed to do. But again, my husband was like, I don't know about that. So I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Switch it up. So anyways, this is the end result of this style. If your closure isn't balding, you could just rock the middle part or the side part. But again, I had to make a pivot because of that balding spot in my closure, and so that's definitely going into the trash after this. But Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to see more tutorials. I would say thin edge friendly tutorials. I'm always going to show you how to protect your hair, even when you're doing protective styles, because sometimes, these wigs, these closures, all the things, the glue, they don't do best, but that's only if you don't install them properly.